Assalamualaikum everyone. Salam Ramadan Al Mubarak. We are wishing you and your family peace and harmony during this Ramadan. So, today we present topic 6. But before that, let me introduce ourselves first. My name is Rejati binti Buzia.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Zainurin binti Zaidun.
Hi everyone, my name is Farisa Izzati binti Rahman.
Hi, my name is Sakila binti Salman.
Okay, today our group would like to present on the challenges facing Islamic finance, opportunity and future prospect, and strategies for growth and competition in IBF. IBF stands for Islamic Banking and Finance. So before we start presenting, you guys can turn page 863 for your reference. Okay, firstly, will start presenting on challenges facing Islamic finance. Okay, so the first one is identity crisis. The studies indicate that the current Islamic financial system is mimicking the conventional system. So the biggest challenges that faced by IBF is to differentiate itself from conventional banking and finance in terms of objective, business philosophy, and product offerings. Okay, for objective, IFI, which stands for Islamic Financial Institution, aim at profit maximization. For the business philosophy is market oriented, and the product offering is based on Sharia compliant product and services. Okay, so next we will go through one by one the objective, business philosophy, and the product offering by Islamic finance. In terms of objective, the challenges that faced by the IBF is to realize Maqasid Sharia at both level of general framework of Islamic finance and at the level of product development and its implementation within the industry. Maqasid Sharia reflects the holistic view of Islam. So, by acknowledge the Maqasid Sharia, Muslims commit themselves to justice, brotherhood, and social welfare. So, the profit maximization itself cannot be the only goal for Islamic finance. Thus, it must move with other goals such as spiritual health, justice, fairness, and equitable distribution. It is because in Islamic teaching, individual freedom and rights must be balanced, including the rights of one's work and property, and need to provide sustenance, which is rezeki, and security to society as a whole. There is three-pronged approach in order to balancing the individual freedoms and rights, which is the first one is moral orientation of individual decision makers. The second one is opening the free competitive market to innovative enterprise, and the third one is assuring adequate rewards. Okay, these were complemented by the state regulation to keep the market free of monopoly and other anti-social activities and guide it towards desirable goals. Okay, next, in terms of business philosophy, the current practice of IBF is as much opportunistic as conventional financial system, which is serving the existing market and its needs. So, in order to differentiate IBF with the conventional, little has been done to create a distinct market for IBF, where IBF is equally risk averse as its conventional counterpart, where the provision of interest and gambling coupled with a ban on trading debts and risk tell us how not to deal with risk and uncertainty, and zakat shows the right direction towards the risk sharing base. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in the Quran, and if the debtor is in straitened circumstances, which is in a difficult situation, then postpone to it, and that year remains that the debt as almsgiving as sedekah would be better for you if you did, but no, and guard yourself against the day in which you will be brought to Allah, then every soul will be paid in full that which its heart earns, and they will not be wrong. Okay, This verse implies that a debtor in default must be given respite until the time of ease, if it is difficult to write off the debt. Islamic finance industry should move towards the creation of more risk-sharing instruments as the future stability of the financial system provide more motives to go in that direction. So, there are three components for comprehensive reform, which is the first one is moral rejuvenation. Rejuvenation is an action or process of making something look or feel better. Basically, rejuvenate is enhance or improve the morality of the individual. The second one is market regulation. It is to ensure that the Islamic finance industry are free from monopoly and antisocial elements. Okay, the third one is state regulation in order to secure desirable goals through the public sector. Okay, next in terms of product offering, the challenges that faced by the IBF is the fixed return debt-based financial instrument dominate the market, while the risk-sharing instrument being almost completely eliminated. As we know, the fixed return debt-based is instruments by it is an instrument by the conventional banks and finance, while the risk-sharing instrument by the Islamic financial institution. So, the main differences between the Islamic and the conventional is only the interest rate mechanism. Because in Islamic, there is a provision of interest rate mechanism, while actually the substance is the same. The reason why the debt-based finance dominate the market is the first one is lack of trust among people and weak institution of Islamic. The second one is poor protection of property and investors' right. The third one is weak enforcement of contract. Okay, so in order to overcome this challenge, further theoretical research within the discipline needs to be carried out. Thus, the Islamic financial institution has sprung up in every country where Muslims live. Thus, it will cause an increasing numbers of Muslims that seeks access to IBF. So, IBF need to use these opportunities to get rid of interest-tainted dealing, which is the debt-based financial instrument that used by the conventional banking and finance which dominate the market. Okay, the next challenges that faced by the Islamic finance is Sharia governance. Okay, Sharia governance and transparency are very critical area in Islamic finance. It is the mechanism which determines the Islamicity of any Islamic institution. Okay, there are challenges of IVF, which is the first one, is to fostering confidence in IVF industry on the part of the public. The second one is to ensure that the industry is at all times in accordance with the Islamic law. So, in order to overcome this challenge and to ensure the smooth management of Islamic financial institution, we must ensure the maximum utilization of Sharia principles in developing Islamic financial product. Since Islamic finance industry currently has been a replication of instruments of conventional finance, while the Islamic finance avoiding the interest rate mechanism and the certain debt-based products. Okay, next is standardization of Sharia. The challenge in standardize the Sharia is the different interpretation of Sharia among Sharia scholars in determine what makes an instrument Sharia compliant. Thus, this different opinion among the Sharia scholars will create confusion among the general public as well as the one who practice the Islamic finance in their life. So, to overcome this challenge, standardizing the ruling is needed. It is to ensure that the people, the general public, as well as the um, ones who practice the Islamic finance, will understand this better. So, thus it will bring future growth and strength to the Islamic finance industry. For standardization to work, it is important to gain mutual recognition of Sharia interpretation across jurisdictions and different schools of Islamic law. Thus, ISRA, which is stand for International Sharia Research Academy for Islamic Finance, has organized regular forums of prominent Sharia scholars in order to standardize this ruling. So, Sharia governance need to come up with unified, standardized, and comprehensive guidelines for the future progress of the Islamic finance industry. This guideline can be used as a reference for Sharia advisory board of each and every Islamic financial institution in the world. Malaysia, for example, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Pakistan has provided excellent examples of Sharia governance and standardization of Islamic financial products. However, it remains a challenge to make Sharia standards issued by AAOIFI, which is stand for Accounting Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, more binding and accepted worldwide. Though IIFM, which stands for International Islamic Financial Market, has standardizing some of the more widely used of Islamic financial contracts such as murabaha and tahawud. Tahawud actually it is a hedging process, and however it still remains a challenge to convince the institution offering Islamic financial service to start using them as standard approved contracts.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nur Sakila binti Zaman and I will continue on the challenges facing by Islamic finance. So, another challenges facing by Islamic finance is in order to develop a comprehensive and robust Islamic financial system. As we know, some of the countries already have an advanced developed in Islamic financial system, but some of the other countries may does not have any progress yet. So, in order to promote financial system in their countries, there is a few things that they have to do, such as the banking and non-banking Islamic financial intermediaries, the Islamic financial market, a wide range of Islamic financial products, as well as a developed Islamic financial infrastructure. But in reality, Islamic finance may bear another challenges like fiscal, monetary, and other regulatory policy are not in line with Islamic financial system. So I will explain later in the other challenges of monetary system. So according to Iqbal and Mirahor, they said that Islamic finance may face another constraint such as pervasive government intervention and goal, inefficient and weak tax system, financial repression, lack of strong supervisory and institution and prudential regulatory framework in the financial system, deficiency of legal and institution framework that provide Sharia-based definition of property right as well as the right of the parties to the contract. So next, the other challenges of Islamic financial system is obviously because of a debt driven. As we know, many financial industry are predominantly interest-based and debt driven, which known as the debt as a risk transfer. So over-dependence on debt-based product can lead to imprudent growth of debt and easy availability of credit, meaning that over-dependence on this product can lead to can increase the existence of credit risk. According to Sheikh Muhammad Taqi Usmani, he said that he suggests that the current debt base should be replaced with the equity based system like murabaha and musyarakah, which are more in line with the real economy. He also said that the debt should be the last resort approach when all the other option has been used. As your information, if non-interest based debt to be used, both party borrower and the lender should be balanced in term of the profit and loss that they will face. And if there is any shift proposed by any parties, it should be done gradually, not drastically, to avoid from affecting the market and industry. Besides that, a goodwill and commitment from both parties are needed to ensure the better changes. Like I said before, according to Sheikh Muhammad Taqi Usmani, he suggests equity base and PLS instrument. PLS stand for profit loss sharing, which also should be used in the financial system because both financial institution and entrepreneur can can evaluate the risks more carefully. It also can bring more stability and justice to to the market. In the best part is that the overall economy will be benefiting and can reduce the unproductive speculation and gambling. So the next challenges is because of a debt-based monetary system. Like I said before, the current monetary system is not in line with the Islamic Sharia, Islamic financial system. So, generally, monetary system is based on fractional reserve banking model. Basically, fractional reserve banking model is a system which only a certain fraction of a bank deposit which was deposited by the depositor are their cash on hand and available for withdrawal. Plus, monetary system is controlled and authorized by the government. So the issue here is that the Islamic finance cannot refrain from debt financing unless the government itself replace the existing fractional reserve banking model with the Sharia-based model. So the challenges part here is that the Islamic financial institution must take additional measure to preserve Sharia authenticity of their operation and product. So another challenges facing by Islamic financial system is when the money supply involve interest rate. As we know, central bank will set interest rate should be charged for the commercial bank for their borrowing, and the commercial bank itself also will charge the interest rate to the household and business for lending. So the challenges here is that the supply of debt can be manipulated by the monetary authority, bank, speculator, and other financial institutions. So another challenges facing by Islamic financial system is the dominance of conventional financial system. So as you know, conventional financial system is interest based. So because of this system, uh, Islamic financial system unable to break away from this spirit too. It is also is a important role to the Islamic financial market, and whether global sukuk or either a small takaful offering. I will say that this kind of product involved with interest base, but because of they use LIBOR, LIBOR stand for London Interbank Offered Rate as the benchmark for them to set the price. It shows that they does not have a true it shows that Islamic financial product does not have a true identity because they like copying a conventional product, and it also show that the Islamic financial product does not have a true identity and damaging their authenticity. So, last but not least, the last challenges facing by Islamic financial institution, Islamic financial system is vulnerability to instability of conventional financial system. So, meaning here is that how the Islamic financial institution deal with the instability of conventional financial system may face. So, basically, in Islamic banking finance remain as an integral part of the conventional financial institution due to dual banking system. Dual banking system the meaning here is that the conventional and Islamic bank operate side by side. So, as you know, the conventional system have problem when there is a disconnection between the payment obligation of the borrowing firm and also its revenue from goods and sales. So um, it's like borrowing firm also may face the possibility of changes in customers' tastes, technologies, and interactional relation. So, because of these changes, it might affect their revenues, and because of this situation, uh, the conventional financial system is lacks of flexibility in this kind of the situation, where the borrowing firm still obligate to pay the given amount at a specific date, that they have agreed. Um, so which can lead the bankruptcy if they cannot able to pay the amount at the given date. So beside that, the IBF, in which is Islamic Banking Finance, are operating in such an environment where they cannot completely insult themselves from the force that dominate the market. It could be seen itself from the current system where the that it is heavily biased on the lender instead of the borrower, such as the lender grow in debt by the continuous interest by the borrower, and the bank also removing the limit to interest on credit card debt imposed, and also tolerating loan shark. In addition, interest-based bearing obstruct the primary function of money, which include as a medium of exchange, where they put the price on the money that depends on the time, and also obstruct the money as a measure of value, where they put the money itself as the object of exchange. And last but not least, it also obstruct the money as the store of value. Um, Moreover, the inequality in the distribution of income also will increase. It is because of the manner that the guarantee on the increment over a time, where it is uncertainty of the future value, meaning that here the total output means capital plus interest in the future, uncertainty, which is the total output may be larger than the input. Input is capital itself. So until now, the Islamic banking finance are far failed to settle this problem, and because of and it's happened because image of integral part of the conventional financial system. Uh, in order to settle this problem, it may be a huge challenges for the Islamic financial system in the financial service industry. So, after considering all the challenges, the IBF find itself the strategic position to exploit the following opportunities, which are the development of a completely independent financial system, development of a completely interest-free product, microfinance, and also takaful. So let's take a look on the first opportunities, which are development of completely independent financial system. So we already can see that financial system was have an alternative to replace the debt-based monetary system with the introduction of gold dinar. The introduction of gold dinar basically to reject the fractional reserve system and separating the deposit taking payment making system from the banking function. Beside that, there are a few current efforts that Islamic financial institution was done in eliminating interest from monetary management, such as by introduce Islamic financial product like murabaha, ijara, istisna, Qardul Hasan, and many more. So basically, Qardul Hasan is a interest free loan which can directly go to wakaf and zakah based on voluntary institution providing public service, especially to the poor. The other things that Islamic financial system was done by providing liquidity on a profit sharing. For your information, profit sharing fund had capability to replace interest-bearing loan in a central bank and commercial bank relationship. So one of the example that we can see is that from the introduce of Shamam instrument, which are from Sudan. Basically, Shamam are based on the central bank ownership of the share in the commercial bank. The Sudanese central bank also was authorized to buy and sell the Tamwil Sukuk or a various kind from a bank and financial institution. So another example is like participation paper, which are introduced by the Iran. These kind of securities issue against this debt to be sold in the open market to control the liquidity. In addition, the private Islamic financial institution also should be engaged in productive enterprise, as they will accept saving on a musyarakah and murabaha basis. Last but not least, the other development that the Malaysian Islamic finance can be proud to is when Malaysia Lembaga Tabung Haji was moved in India to launch cooperation attracting saving in preparation for Hajj pilgrimage and arranging for the investment in wakaf property to increase the revenue. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, let's continue. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my dear Akila and my fellow classmates. Hope you all are doing good right now. So, I am Reza still, and now I will continue with another part of opportunities and then further with the strategy for Islamic financial institution. So, the point is development of completely interest-free products. As you know, riba, usury, and interest are prohibited under Sharia law because it will lead to economic injustice in Islam and also create instability in the community life. So, this is one of the ongoing challenges for Islamic Bank. As you know right now, Islamic finance is bound to operate within the conventional interest-based system. Conventional interest-based system affect the Islamic financial instrument and also, like the Islamic commercial law, could be jeopardized. Okay, until now, the Islamic banking finance has followed conventional interest-based model to offer financial products that are compliant with Sharia, but it remains interest-linked. For example, like Tawaru and Bayadina and others. So, therefore, there is a need to develop a new model of banking and finance which offer interest-free product. It will be complete departure for the existing practice of banking and finance. This also can help those who intend to create socio-economic value in the production process. Okay, next, the third one, we go to the microfinance. Microfinance is one of the least developed areas in Islamic finance. As you can see here, it currently stands less than 1% of global Islamic financial service industry due to huge financial exclusion if compared to Takaful, Sukuk, Islamic Bank, Islamic Fund and others. So what is microfinance all about? Microfinance is a financial service that helps to reduce poverty, improve schooling levels, and generate socio-economic development of the poor and small entrepreneur without charging any interest or riba. Microfinance was first established in Latin America and South Asia, but the best known start was in Bangladesh in 1976. Now it has spread globally, including Asia, Latin America, and others. In this Sharia compliant microfinance, it involved Murabaha, Fardul Hasan, Musyarakah, Mudarabah, and also Ijarah. So I will give example for our country. Okay, there are three important microfinance institutions in Malaysia, which is Amanah Ikhtiar Malaysia, Yayasan Usaha Maju, and Tabung Ekonomi Kumpulan Usaha Niaga. So, this is one of the example services that Amanah Ikhtiar provide, which is, as you can see here, from the typical grocery transform to mini market. So, it is automatically contribute to increase the number of earning for that entrepreneur or person. That's why Islamic finance need to build up microfinance to help, especially for person that in need. Okay, the last opportunities that Islamic banking finance wanted to get is takaful. So, takaful is the Islamic counterpart of conventional insurance. The participant contribute a sum of money as a tabarruk, which is donation, to a common fund that will be used mutually to assist the members against the specified type of loss or damage. As you can see from this pie chart, it shows that takaful only contribute 2%. So far, they fail to develop as a truly cooperative model of insurance. This is because they just bring limited benefit to the participant and lack of customer awareness. In order for them to enhance the penetration rate of takaful product in the region, including Malaysia, both conventional insurer and takaful operator should form a strategic alliance which will benefit both parties by bringing to the market a practice of Sharia compliance. If compared with Thailand, Philippines, and Brunei and also Indonesia, in Malaysia, the regulation governing for the takaful operation were relatively tight, said by CEO of Takaful Ikhlas Sindra Berhad, Syed Mohib Syed Kamaruzaman. So, here, based on the Malaysia Takaful Association, MTA, the takaful industry in Malaysia started in October 1982 and followed with enactment of Takaful Act 1984. So currently, Malaysia have 13 successful takaful companies with family and life takaful insurance, such as Zurich Takaful, Etika Takaful, AIA Public Takaful, and others. Okay, so let's proceed with this. Okay, this is a strategy for growth and competition in Islamic banking finance. There is 10, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 strategies. Okay, so I will explain for the first 3 one. The first one is by increasing the size of Islamic finance institution. Based on Thomson Research 2018 Islamic Finance Development Report, there is around 1,400 Islamic finance institutions operating across 80 countries. And for your information, Malaysia, Bahrain, UAE are among the most developed Islamic finance market worldwide. What an impressive news, right? So, the obvious way to increase size of Islamic finance institution is by building up capital base of Islamic bank. There have been attempts to create Mega Islamic Bank. Mega Islamic Bank is a merger of an international business and small institution to facilitate cross-border financial flows and support international trade and cross-border investment. Dr. Zeti Akhtar Aziz, Governor of the Central Bank of Malaysia, said that large-scale bank is required as smaller institutions are mostly focused on domestic area only, whereas she wanted to see organization and enhance the financial and economic connectivity with others countries. For example, the proposed mega merger involving CIMB Bank, RHB Bank, and MBSB Bank that was announced in 2014, but it has ceased negotiation in first quarter of 2015 due to the economic situation at that time. Okay, the second way to increase the size of Islamic finance is by retaining sufficient profit. Islamic finance make a profit through equity participation, which require a borrower to give the bank a share in their profit rather than paying interest. This will enable them to purchase new asset and also new tenant. So, next, we go to brand development. This is the second strategies. So, for information, this is the most common strategies for internal growth, which provide many advantages to the firm. Once the brand is established, less advertising is required to launch new product. Brand development of your financial companies can create customer confidence and loyalty in their performance. But you need to know there's a difference between brand development and identity development. What it is? So, as you can see here, changing the name of company is an identity, while changing the logo is a brand development. So, changing the name, Noor Bank decided to change Islamic identity to more mainstream name, which is more to conventional name, from Noor Islamic Bank to Noor Bank. This is called as identity, while Dubai Islamic Bank modernized its logo with slight modification to its original logo. It is called a brand development. A powerful at this stage, when the brand strategy is required, some consultancy firms will advise Islamic finance institution to change their identity to look like mainstreaming, which is normal financial institution. The brand identity, the brand identity development process convey the value of your organization not only to customer but also to the employees. A powerful brand identity can help the company drive performance in sales, marketing, and retention. So, the third one. The third one is quantification of demand. This is the first step towards developing the Islamic finance institution. Without having an objective view on the demand and its nature, developing a strategy for growth and competition will not be effective. Concepts such as displaced commercial risk (DCR) have a direct implication on growth and competition. This concept was introduced to Islamic banking without any objective justification. So, what is DCR? DCR is a unique risk for Islamic bank. It comes from the volatility of returns generated by asset finance by investment account. In order to manage this DCR, profit acquisition reserve, which is PR, and investment risk reserve, IRR, play a critical role towards the Islamic bank. Okay, as an example in textbook, empirical evidence on the relevance of DCR in Pakistan Islamic banking suggests that 62% of the respondents would not withdraw money from Islamic bank if they announce a rate of profit less than market of return. That's why DCR was not found to be contributing significant to the demand, while KAP, which is knowledge, attitude, and practice, can help introduce, understand, demand for Islamic banking. Now we proceed to Farisa.
Okay, next I will continue with the fourth strategy for growth and competition for Islamic banking and finance. For your information, the IBF sectors appears to be at a very critical point to be introduced to other countries at early stage. But now, they have overcome it, and over the last 3 decades, based on Global Finance magazine, one of the articles in it said that the growth of IBS sector has been very impressive, and The total estimated assets are about 2.2 trillion US dollars. Despite of the macroeconomic conditions and socio-political environments, the Islamic banking and finance still has potential to grow in other countries. The organization and the government are responsible for the infrastructure development, and the industry itself must engage with the stakeholders. Geographically speaking, the growth to introducing this new market are uneven. For the Arab world, countries like Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Syria and Oman, the IBF is yet to make a serious presence and take a longer time to introduce to these countries. Next, for the Central Asian Muslim countries such as Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan also has been slow in introducing and adopting Islamic banking and finance. But Kazakhstan are the fastest countries among the Central Asian Muslim countries that started to implement IBF. And today, they have about 3 Islamic banking operating in Kazakhstan. Having about 70% of the population are Muslim, the government itself provide necessary support such as infrastructure and necessary changes in legislation. For African countries, the ones that have Muslim minorities are the ones that have shown interest in IBF, which are Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, while the Muslim majority African countries yet have not taken a lead role in developing the IBF as part of their national strategy. Next, we move to the 5th strategy, which is expansion into the countries with civil war and internal conflicts. There are several Muslim countries that are affected by the civil war and internal conflicts, namely Somalia, Libya, Iraq, and Syria. The IBF sector has been almost unimportant. This internal conflict provides an opportunity to the IBF to play a role in resolution of many political issues. Over the past decade, Islamic banking and finance has emerged as an effective tool for financing development worldwide, including non-Muslim countries. One way of promoting the IBF in these countries is by engaging with the organization involved in conflict resolution, such as United Nations, World Bank and IMF. The establishment of the World Bank Global Center of Islamic Finance at Istanbul is a step in this direction. The World Bank Global Center is known as a knowledge hub for developing Islamic finance globally, that conducting research and training and providing technical assistance and advisory services. It is hoped that this center will become the basis of the efforts of World Bank to promote the IBF, with the help of the countries like Turkey that be taking a leading role in giving advisory services. This center will has a definite role to be respected. The 6th strategy is development of Islamic microfinance and combating poverty through financial inclusion. Islamic microfinance sector is an important area of research to make poverty alleviation can be effectively addressed. This is because of the failure of commercial Islamic banks to serve the poor and people, to provide necessary capital to less vulnerable people. The current situation of high unemployment giving disadvantages to the people in Muslim countries and have awakened the need for proper access for microfinance. Islamic microfinance is more ethical practice than the traditional motive of profit maximization, and it encourages the extending time of repayment if the debtor has a hardship. In some cases, it suggests to give it as a charity if the creditor has the capability. The IBF institution should work with the government and other relevant institutions to provide community development finance. In this case, credits and zakah can be given to the extreme poor people for satisfying their basic needs. In terms of social responsibility, Islam encouraged people to be soft in case of collecting the lending money. For the seventh strategy, the development of global leadership in IBF, the World Islamic Economic Forum (WIEF) and the establishment of Global Islamic Finance Leadership Award have played an important role in providing the platform to the Muslim political leadership to get engaged in Islamic economic and financial issues in a popular fashion. However, a lot more needs to be done to develop, nurture, and promote leadership in IBF. Such new leaders must be developed through Islamic finance leadership programs, which should be financed by all the stakeholders of the country. Do you know that in 2016, Malaysia has become the global leader in IBF for the first time according to the Global Islamic Finance Report 2016. Malaysia has overtaken Iran in terms of the Islamic Finance Country Index. Since the IFCI was established in 2011, Malaysia has been placed second behind Iran, which had dominated the list up to 2015. In 2016, Malaysia reported IFCI of 77.77, while Iran has a lower of IFCI, which is 77.39. We continue with the eighth strategy, which is establishing a center of excellence for research and development in IBF. Investment in R&D is crucial to innovation that can increase competitiveness and lead to growth. Islamic financial innovation must involve in developing new Islamic financial product and services. This is to make the range of product and services increases so that they can meet the sophisticated and complex requirement of today's consumer requirement. The innovation in IBF must also involve continuous introduction of new structures that may contribute towards achieving the economies of scale and scope. It must also contribute towards creating new markets or expand to the existing market for Islamic products and services. The ninth strategy is looking for new alliance. Develop an alliance with the conventional banking and finance has helped IBF in the initial phases of development of the industry. The IBF received cognition and respect from the regulators and authorities in these countries. For example, crowdfunding, which is in line with the general Sharia requirement, is gaining momentum in UK and other European countries that following an initial success in USA. As several crowdfunding platforms are equity-based, it will be good for IBF to explore possibilities of cooperation with the leading crowdfunding players. This method is also cost-effectiveness and to improve financial inclusion. The last strategy will be development of IBF as an integral part of a global halal economy. Integrating Islamic funding with halal industry is viewed to increase consumer confidence on halal product and services, as well to boost up the halal businesses. Despite of the world, halal has been associated with the religion of Islam. A halal economy ultimately benefit the entire global economy or community. As a result, Islamic value has a universal appeal that making many halal products and services equally attractive to non-Muslim consumers. This decoupling of IBF and Islamic economic has not been seen favorably by several stakeholders. Countries that have started is Dubai, which their government wants to make the Dubai a global center of excellence for Islamic economy, and as a part of it has started promoting the IBF. Okay, that's all from me. I'm Farisa Izzati binti Rahmat. Wassalamualaikum.